Okay, it's finally here, the 2026 growing season. So, looking forward to getting the giant pumpkin patch going. Going to be doing 5 giant pumpkins this year, 3 in the regular patch and 2 in a 150 square foot patch. So, each plant is 150 square feet. So that's a separate competition just to see how big of a pumpkin you can get in like a 10 by 15 area. So, kind of excited for that, but we're going to be starting all of our seeds today. I have got the patch all amended. I did a separate video with that. Got the cover crop is looking kind of iffy out there. I did throw down some more rye seed just to kind of keep some roots in the ground in the patch. Heating cables are in, so it's time. I'll be putting the hoop houses on later today. We've had tons and tons of bad weather, a lot of hail. There's been tornadoes going through. There's been just copious amounts of rain. So it's I guess get it out of its system now before the plants and the hoop houses and everything get out there. But last bit of storm and cold weather is hopefully tonight. So tomorrow morning I'll get the hoop houses out. So it's time to start seeds. So about 3 days earlier than I was last year. So I would have liked to have been quite a bit earlier, but just wasn't in the cards this year. But show you the process for what I do for starting the seeds and then filling. I'm using grow bags again this year instead of pots. So get these 2-gallon grow bags. I cut them off a little bit, so they're probably like pound and a gallon and a half by the time I get them filled up, which is just about where I want them to be. I don't leave these plants in here for very long at all. Basically, they're going to be in here for maybe about a week. I don't like the roots to get tangled up at all in there. So as soon as I get the first true leaf that comes out, once it gets to be a couple inches big, when that true leaf comes out, whatever direction that goes, the vine's going to go in the opposite direction. So as soon as I know what direction that vine's going to go, we're going to get them planted down in the hoop houses. So today, again, starting seeds, what we're going to do is I got them all selected here. We're going to do my 1940 from last year, 2162 from last year. We're going to be doing a 2025 Haste, which is a 839 Sandercock and a 2365 Wolf Cross. Really, usually really nice bright orange pumpkins. And then I'm going to be doing the 2551 Ford again. I'm actually going to be doing the 2162. I'm going to put one in the big patch, and then I'm also going to be growing one of these in the 150 square foot challenge. So actually going to be having 2 of those this year. So I'll explain the crosses and stuff in a later video, but basically what we're going to do to start seeds today is we are going to soak our seeds. The pumpkin seeds got a pretty tough shell on them. So this is controversial in the pumpkin world, to sand or not to sand. I'm a sander guy. So just to help these things kind of help them along, get them sprouting faster. You could take a sanding block, this is 220, and just kind of lightly sand or all the way around the perimeter of the seed, with the exception of the pointy end. You don't want to sand that at all. That is where the root actually comes out of there. So just very lightly sand that, and what will happen is when you sand this brown rind off of there, you'll actually see a really light line all the way around. And that's kind of what you want to see. And then you'll get them into the water. What I do with the water is I actually I get soluble seaweed extract from Ferdy Organic and Humic and Fulvic. So I just take a little bitty pinch of those, get those in there, and then I put some mycorrhizal fungi from Mycomax, kind of a seed treat, get that in there, let the seeds all soak for about 2 hours, and then get them into the grow bags. What I'm using this year is there's a local company here in central Wisconsin. It's Sioux Growing Supply. They make up some really good soil mixes. So they've got a germination mix, and then there's a potting soil mix that I'm going to be using to bury all my vines this year with that. I'll go into great detail on that in a different video, but I'm going to be using a bunch of bags of their germination mix today, like 90% germination mix, and then just a little bit, probably 10% of the professional potting soil. This has got some compost in it and peat. So I don't like to have a ton of fertilizer. I don't fertilize anything in these bags. But just a little compost is okay. We're going to add a little bit of worm castings in there. Maybe a few other little ingredients, but I'll go through that here in a second. So here you can kind of see the edge of that seed. And we're going to go ahead and sand that and then show you exactly what that looks like afterwards. So. Okay, you can kind of see the line that I sand to there. So that seed's ready to go in the water. Alright, so we got all our seeds sanded here. And what we're going to do is I just got some warm tap water. I took a little bit of the soluble seaweed humic fulvic, made up a mix. Like I said, I get that stuff from Ferdy Organic. Mixes up really good. I'm going to turn this little bit is going to turn this water pretty much black, and then I'm just going to add. This is Mycomax, and that's mycorrhizal fungi. I'm going to add just a little bit of that in there. Get this stuff stirred up. And we're going to get this. You're going to just take a cup, another solo cup, make sure they're on top of the seeds so everything is underwater. Those are going to soak for about 2 hours. For now, we're going to go ahead and mix up our potting soil mix, or I'm sorry, our germination mix inside of our grow bags. I'll get these trimmed and we'll get some ingredients added there, and I'll show you what I add to that. Okay, I got a couple of bags in here already, but I'll show you kind of this process. So I just got a big plastic tub here. Got a bunch of bags of the Sioux germination mix. I have another started bag of the potting soil mix, so I add a little bit of that in there. We got a little bit of worm castings. Again, we're not going crazy on fertility. And then I have a little bit. This is a product from B Plus Organics, so it's just basically a mycorrhizal. I'm sorry, not a mycorrhizal. Biological inoculant. So we're just gonna add a little bit of that on there, and then I run everything through a screen, every product, just to make sure that there's no chunks, and if there is, that way the stuff can kind of get broke up. This germination mix from Sioux was really good. Didn't really have any chunks in it at all, but I just run it through here just to be safe. So, but I'll show you what this looks like when it's done. All right, we've got everything sifted, everything added. I had a little bit left over of that seaweed Mycomax, so I'll dump that in there. Basically, get you some light, lukewarm water. We're going to add this in, get it stirred up, probably take 1.5 of these. There's a lot of peat moss in here, so it'll absorb it real good. But the trick to doing this is, and getting the right moisture content, is you want to keep adding it, keep stirring it, and you want to do that to the point that you can grab a handful of this soil, squeeze it as hard as you can, and 1 drop should basically come out of there. And that's how you know you've got the exact right moisture content. If a bunch of drops come out, you're going to have to add more germination mix, more soil, whatever you got to add to kind of dry that out a little bit. And then otherwise just keep adding a little bit of water at a time. Then I also like to let it sit, let that peat kind of absorb it, and then double check it. Once I know for sure I got the right moisture content, then we'll throw it in the bags. We'll wait our 2 hours, and then we'll throw the seeds in the bags and get them in the grow chamber. All right. Always takes way more water than what you think, but I basically almost took 2 of these jugs to get this stuff fully saturated. You got to really get down in there and get this stuff mixed up really good to make sure it's evenly moist. Like, I can't stress how important this part is. I feel like in years past, even when I was just had regular vegetable gardens, I would always put the seed starting mix into the little cells, put a seed in, and then like add water. And I think that was the big reason that a lot of my germination rates weren't very good, because they just weren't wet enough. Like literally, this is a foolproof way to do it, and not just for giant pumpkins, but for all your veggies. Get it so that you can easily just get a drop that comes out of there, and that soil's perfect. So, and that usually it like I put the plastic domes over the seeds, so I don't have to water. I don't have to do anything for a long time until these seeds are out, and the soil's usually damp for a couple days after that. So, but we'll get these bags loaded up, and then still got a little bit of time before we got to throw the seeds in. But all I do with this, we get a bunch of the soil in there, and then we want to kind of tap it down. We're not going for any sort of heavy compression or anything like that, again, because we want the soil to be nice and loose and make it easy for those roots to grow through here. So there's one grow bag ready to go. Okay, it's been a couple of hours here. We're under another tornado warning, and there was hail to the south here, so it's been just a doozy of a spring. But got these bags filled. I put them in my seating trays, and then I have these high top domes. So, and then we're gonna get them transferred over to the heat mats here. But basically, the way that I plant these things is take my soaked seed, and the way that I plant them is instead of putting them down like that, I dig a little hole and lay them in there flat. The reason that I do that is I found I've laid them all different ways, but basically why I do that is 9 times out of 10 when the leaves come out, that seed casing is detached. You don't have to get in there and pry that thing off. So we get this guy down in there and see him in about 3 days. So I'm gonna get these done, and then I'll show you the seed mats and how I get that set up. All right, so I got my 3 bags, everything's marked. This one's already set up. Basically what I got here is a heat mat, and then I've got that set to 80 degrees. I got one underneath each. We're gonna set the temperature probe in slight downward angle, kind of mid bag here. Then we're going to get the top on, and basically that's a process. We'll see these in about 3 to 4 days. I have usually always 100% germination doing this way, and then we'll be outside in probably about a week. So we'll give an update when we get these things planted outside, and stay tuned.